Hi everyone, welcome to the Daily Dollar. Today we are going over the fundamentals of inflation. If you are interested in understanding how inflation works and how it can impact the economy and individuals, then you've come to the right place. YouTube is full of the infinite wisdom of creators. Some are truly experts in their field and try to be as unbiased as possible. Others, not so much. The goal is to clear up some of the noise with a quick summary of how inflation works. By no means is this comprehensive. This is the start of the Inflation 101 mini-series, with the upcoming videos being more relevant to current events. Like and subscribe to support the channel so we can keep making content. What is inflation? It sounds simple. It's when prices go up because the money printer got left on for too long, right? Well, yes, but also no. Inflation is a result of increased prices and/or cost over a period of time. This increase results in a decrease in purchasing power. More simply put, the more expensive things get, the less stuff you can buy. This is assuming your wages or earnings don't keep up at least. For example, if inflation was over 2% over a 1-year period, and you got a 2% raise over that same year, then your purchasing power remained equal. That is a broad statement that ignores a lot of details in fine print, but is more or less true. We measure inflation by tracking a price index, or more normally referred to as a basket of goods. They are usually calculated on an annual basis. So if you hear inflation was up 8% in June, it's compared to June of the prior year, not 8% over the month of June. Now let's get into some inflation metrics. First, we have consumer goods, or CPI, the end items we buy online and in stores. CPI tells us how much more the average person pays for goods and services. Wholesale inventory, or WPI, is less commonly used as these are mainly middlemen. They buy from producers and sell to retailers. WPI tells us how supply chains are reacting to inflation. This also tells us if the cost is being absorbed by companies or passed on to consumers. Producer input, or PPI, is when inflation in commodities or labor expenses increase the cost of producing basically anything. This is normally a leading indicator, as prices are then increased and passed on throughout the supply chain. These indicators give us a decent idea on the effect of inflation. Keep in mind that inflation is not always derived from money printing and can originate from supply chains and other macro factors. With that being said, what causes inflation? Inflation is a macroeconomic event. This is fancy speak for saying it is complicated and has so many moving parts that nobody has all the information about it, especially not while it is still ongoing and is too recent for all the data to have been collected and analyzed. But let's go over some of the usual suspects. First, money supply. We've all heard this one a million times. Historically, it is the one most abused. Money supply refers to the action of printing currency along with the actions taken by governments and central banks. Basically, the more money you make, the less valuable it becomes. Supply exceeds demand, or more accurately, the amount of currency in circulation exceeds economic productivity. This is also fancy talk for too much money and not enough goods or services to buy. Another cause of inflation is demand pull. This is when demand exceeds supply. This normally occurs when supply chains break down or demand increases faster than production can scale. And lastly, cost push inflation, when the raw inputs of production become more expensive. This is normally when commodity prices increase from a shortage, war, or scarcity, or wage increases. Wage costs can increase this as well, from micro events like a labor shortage or strike to macro events like exchange rates or demographics. So what are the pros and cons of inflation? Inflation has a lot of macroeconomic pros. Simply stated, inflation encourages economic activity, while deflation discourages economic activity. Therefore, inflation is seen as the lesser of two evils, at least when compared to its more damaging sibling. But how does inflation encourage economic activity? I'm so glad you asked. Inflation is preferred because it encourages people to use their money rather than hoarding it. Inflation promotes consumer spending by making today's dollar more valuable than tomorrow's, encouraging people to buy more stuff, and stuff buying creates jobs. Inflation promotes investment, lending, and productivity increases, and the quest for a higher return despite the risk, at least when compared to the negative return of hoarding cash. Inflation decreases the impact of debt over time. A fixed rate loan for a house or business is the most expensive the moment you get it. 30 or 40 years of inflation makes each payment easier than the last. And that's excluding pay raises that are also a result of inflation over the same time. As we all know, nothing comes without cons to balance out the pros, and inflation has a few. Inflation discourages saving. This can make individuals and businesses financially fragile or insolvent in difficult times. Inflation decreases purchasing power. This can make things unaffordable for those whose wages do not keep up. For example, in the United States, education, healthcare, and housing have increased faster than wages did over the last 40 years. Inflation can shorten retirement forecasts and diminish future returns. This is mostly a problem for lenders of fixed-rate loans and fixed-income earners like retirees. These costs are considered preferable when compared to deflation. Currency deflation is horrible unless you are a nation of retirees, largely because it results in cash hoarding, which means no money for investments, startups, or loans. Inflation is complicated and has too many moving parts to be simplified to a single component or culprit. Inflation is a macro event with many micro-sized gears turning within it. While moderate inflation is good, anything in excess is usually a bad thing. The next video in this series will be going over why today's inflation is so vastly different from that of the 1970s. Keep your financial knowledge up to date by subscribing to our channel. See you next time on The Daily Dollar.